let's bring him in right now. We got Steven Gates, the CEO and founder. What's up, Steven? And we got Breevie, who is the growth specialist. What's up, Breevie? Good to see you guys.
Welcome.
And so this is you guys' first time on the show, and I see Breevie's in the chat. Also, what up to Marion? Hello, Marion. Good to see you. And guys, it's great to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Great to be here. I know Firestorm have been talking about this.
Bro, I can't remember how many times we talked about this, and you were like, not yet.
Yeah.
Well, finally, it's happening. I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too, guys. It's good to have you guys here, man. I remember when GoGoPool first popped up, and I was seeing you guys on my timeline, and I hope that I saw your mascot was at the summit. Now, did your mascot and Dexter actually get to meet and hang out?
No, unfortunately not. So our mascot was me.
Oh, really? That was you?
Yeah, it was me.
Hey, you were killing it, man.
Like Dexter got there, and I saw Dexter, and I was like, "Oh, let me hurry up and throw the stuff on." Threw the stuff on. By the time I threw the stuff on, Dexter was like gone somewhere. I didn't know where Dexter was at.
Dexter is,
popular guy at the summit.
He gets nervous. He gets nervous.
He was hitting all the other businesses, talking to them, giving out gifts.
Yeah,
you know the drill. You know how it goes.
Social as he is, he's a very nervous little guy sometimes. So I think he probably just dipped, But that's awesome that you guys were there, though. I love the mascot. Love seeing it on my timeline. But to start off, guys, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves? And our viewers want to hear more about GoGoPool, obviously. But Steven, let's start with you.
Let's hear the stories, bro.
Yeah, we want.
How did you guys end up where you are?
We get crypto origin stories every time. So we need your crypto origin stories, your background, and how you got into this space, man.
Yeah, so my name's Steven, founder of GoGoPool. We're one of the first founders for GoGoPool. We talk about building in the bear kind of before you guys brought us on. It's like I was definitely born the bear in terms of entrepreneurship, right? Like cold calling 50 to 100 calls per day, right? Just grinding. And like literally that's how we built the first kind of startup, the first book of business. Then COVID came, 80% revenue gone in about a weekend because we were targeting small businesses in a very COVID sensitive industry. So then it was another 8 months of rebuilding. Now it's 200 cold calls per day. Now I was bringing on some of my buddies to help out as well. And then pivoting through kind of that little anime montage of us trying out different ideas after we're like, we ended up building this enterprise product type of thing that bosses love, the actual users hate, type of high ticket product. So we're like, all right, let's get back to our roots here. Like, what else can we do? So we started working on, here's how we started transitioning crypto, is we were starting to work on creating new business models for content creators. Specifically with some sort of AI video editor that helps your community create content on behalf of your favorite content creator. And we're like, all right, like this community aspect is really ripping. Like that's the whole AI video editor stuff. It's like pretty okay. It's pretty cool tech. It makes it possible. But really the thing that was lightning in the bottle was this whole idea of kind of this pulse of the communities were just ravenous for helping out the favorite content creators. You feel like they're part of this community and helping push things forward. We're like, okay, great. How can we dive deeper in that? How can we push that? Like blockchain technology is a very good fit, right? People can get rewarded for their work in tokens. Kind of the blockchain can act as a ledger to keep track of who did what the contributions are, what the commissions are, blah, blah, blah. And we imagine this new world of these networks can become a network of networks so that all the biggest content creators can have their own app chains because they need that level of scale and customization.
Sure.
And now they can all interop together, which then gets the communities involved in actually working with like cross community pollination of like all super fans from streamer A working with super fans streamer 2 or streamer B to kind of create something new together and create kind of new value. And we're like, okay, now how do we actually build this? And that was the introduction to Avalanche. We looked at Cosmos, looked at Polkadot. L2s weren't really a thing. Frankly, subnets weren't really a thing either. There was like barely documentation. It was mostly code. Yeah. So for us, our DD process, as we're kind of evaluating Polkadot and Cosmos, we're like, okay, like seems like it could work maybe for like an MVP, but we're also trying to make something that's global scale and hit that level of scale as quickly as possible. So we need very, very high throughput, very low finality, and very, very low costs for the end user, right? Like almost like the credit card system can't run on Tendermint. And that was the introduction to Avalanche. And that's like the why subnets, why Avalanche. It's like, oh, this tech actually works. Yeah, it's early and it's rough, but the actual architecture for this, the design for this, like as this gets massaged, this is a good horse to bet on. So we started trying to add subnets to it, and we kind of found that, oh shit, this is actually our jam. Like we're all in for people at heart, and we're like, wait, there's actually this gap of making subnet technology usable, because we started solving these problems just for ourselves. We're like, well, wait, actually, everything we're building here for ourselves could be applied just to the broader and subnet ecosystem and help people kind of launch these subnets. And that's where we landed on the mission statement for GoGoPool, which is to help builders bring blockchain technology to the world. It's like, I think I guess especially in the last bull market, people were very obsessed with tokens. People thought that cryptocurrency was the cool thing about blockchains, but it's actually they're different, right? Blockchain technology is different than coins.
It's a subset of the application.
Exactly. It's an emergent property of being able to have a blockchain, right? And I think the subnet technology is kind of the purest form of, okay, you have this blockchain technology, this root primitive. What are all the amazing, fantastical things you could do with this? That's not just a DeFi protocol or whatever the current use cases are, right? It's like this wonderful way to experiment with blockchain technology, bring it to the world, quickly get validation, and then again, get to a global scale using the same tech stack, right? It's just like it scales as you expect a database should, or as you expect some sort of info provider should. Awesome, so that's how that was basically my red pill moment to crypto. It was very cool on the infra side.
And Breevie, did you start together with Steven, or did you join later? What was your story here?
Yeah, so we intertwined at like the more so forming of GoGoPool kind of section, but like my beginning is more so kind of, I was more of a moon boy when I kind of started. Like I learned about crypto from one of my buddies, and he was just like, "Oh, I made a bunch of money." I was like, "Oh, cool! Like, let me check this thing out." And then I love money. I love money, but I lost a lot. On of losing, super heavy. But in losing, I actually kind of found like a kind of love for crypto, to where I was like, "Oh, I kind of like researching about this." Through continued research, I actually stumbled upon Terra Luna, and kind of started my content creator journey on Terra Luna. Started a podcast, interviewed somewhere around like 40 to 50 different Terra Luna projects in the space, and then you guys all know what happened with Terra Luna. You know.
No, what happened? What? No,
it went poof. And then, so when Steven kind of came around, it was actually pretty random, because it was like right after Terra Luna had gone kaput. I had like my whole world was shook, right?
Sure.
Like I was a Terra Luna maxi to the fullest. So like when that was gone, I really didn't know like where my kind of life was going, like where I like fit within crypto anymore. And then Steven kind of comes by, like tells me this vision about subnets, where he's just trying to make them really easy so you can bring blockchain technology to the masses. And then, you know, my mind got to twirling. He's talking about making it as easy as creating like a WordPress website. My mind got to twirling. And I'm like, man, like, you know, what happens when, you know, my mom can spin up a subnet easily without having to, you know, have like any developer knowledge. Obviously, that is, you know, years and years away, but you know what happens when that kind of future gets realized. And so he told me that kind of vision, and then I just kind of had to come onto the team.
Bro, that's like awesome, there is obviously every single one of us who's been in the space for a few years experience at least one up and then many downs. Okay, like you know, it's almost like your initiation needs to come through pain and suffering, and your belief and your conviction in the technology and what it can provide to you, to your friends, to your mom, or to your whatever community is what overtakes that. And there is no better way to come out of a hole, for lack of a better description, than building stuff, right? Because your conviction pushes you to build, you know, whatever you believe in. So, you know, believe me, that's a great story, and that's what's going to make you strong and resilient in this space, in my opinion, for the future, right?
Appreciate it.
So amazing stories, man. These are the types of people that would love in the space. We are exactly like you in that sense, and I love these stories. So I get carried away a little. Definitely. But tell us about GoGoPool, right? How did you guys? First of all, what is it for the audience? I obviously know, so I'm going to try to slow myself down and ask the questions that I think our audience may ask. But what is it? And how did you guys arrive at what it is today architecturally and as a product market fit? And why do you think it's needed? So let's start with that.
So again, our mission is to help bring blockchain technology to the world by making subnets easy. That's our chosen vehicle. There are a lot of reasons of why subnets are hard. One of the first reasons is where do I get my validator nodes, right? Because every single subnet, the validator node of that subnet also has to validate the main chain. That's a 2000 AVAX minimum cost. So the question is, all right, where do I get my validator nodes? And more than that, I don't really just need the hardware. I need partners. I need people who are actually incentivized to kind of like join the network, play in the network, and really kind of like help us grow this thing. If you think of like the Genesis validator nodes of Ethereum, maybe the only more hardcore people I can think of than that little group of people is like the first miners for Bitcoin and like the original validator set for Avalanche, right? It's like there's you need a special group there. It's not just about the hardware. So anyways, so that's what GoGoPool set out to solve. GoGoPool is a staking protocol that helps validator nodes launch AVAX nodes for half price by staking the GGP token to match them up with liquid staking deposits. This whole thing is really meant to be a Trojan horse, where there's kind of two things at play. One, we consider ourselves really just a temporary steward of the protocol. Like right now, it's like GoGoPool's in beta phase. It launched 60 days ago, but we're really here like just to get it set, get to that finished product, and then becomes immutable. And it's like, okay, this is now just a part of the internet now, right? Like this is just how it is.
And that jives really well with the general ethos of what blockchains are and what decentralization is, right? I would argue that we share the same kind of long-term vision. We built an exchange here, like the logic came from us, but ultimately, you want it such that the operation of it, the maintenance, like the software maintenance can stay with the dev team, but at least the operation on how it runs and how it works becomes decentralized and ownerless, right? So
totally.
Amazing. Yeah.
And through talking with that, like, okay, if that's the goal here, now how do we actually get nodes to sign up, right? And we're just talking to one of the very early validator nodes of the GoGoPool protocol. He's like, yeah, Steven, I'm in here for basically three things: yield, friendship and fun, and helping subnets launch faster, right? And I was like, oh, that is just the perfect way to describe it of exactly what we're trying to go for, right? This is blockchain, very economically motivated. So now this GGP token, it lets you like strictly, you earn a higher ROI of running a GoGoPool mini pool versus running a solo validator node at the 2000 AVAX level. Because of this variability of the GGP token, you can kind of like play your own kind of game there. The community and the friendship, for sure. That's also like every single one of us have mentioned that as well. Of like that's really was the sticking factor.
Bro, I like one thing to add: friendship and fun. I think like the Avalanche guys were like so happy with the vibes that Breevie was bringing to the summit that I think he's the main guy that's featured in the freaking summary video.
I saw that.
I'm like, bro, where am I? Look at this dude like crushing it, and he's like,
high, man.
Giant smile ear to ear every time they got a shot of it. And I was like, man, this dude brings the vibes.
I try to bring the vibes, my friend.
Hell yeah.
Vibes officer.
Yeah.
It's why we're all here, right? That really is the retention.
I mean, we're on Twitch right now. I just DJ'd, and now we're talking about markets.
Yeah, we're all here.
I think we're vibe. We're proponents of the vibes, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then collecting everybody's energy and everyone's ambition. And then this is kind of the third kind of like value point of GoGoPool, which is all oriented towards this main mission: help builders bring blockchain to the world by making subnets easy, right? And what we're seeing already in the community is already different groups that, like, I swear I didn't ask them to. There was no BD happening. It was just the protocol launched and our dashboard kind of sucked and was kind of rough in the first like week. And suddenly a community member, just because a lot of these validator node operators, they're also devs, right? They're also interested in subnets. It's like they just built a dashboard and they deployed it and said, hey guys, here's the dashboard because I wanted to see what the parameters of protocol was and blah, blah, blah. And it's like yesterday on our Twitter space with two of the early validators were on there that we're talking to. The other one showed up. It was like, yeah, I use it every day. The other validator node was like, oh shit, well, it's great. What do you think is missing, right? And it's like something that when you think of really healthy communities, this is definitely the early signs of. So far, most of the time, that only happens when token prices go from 1 cent to $10. right? Like I think of especially like early curve, maybe earlier in finance. It's like, okay, people are incentivized because like there's a bull market happening and they're kind of like building into something. But now's the bear market, right? And we're still seeing people just popping up and building stuff just because they're having fun. It's like, to me, that's the sign of a really healthy community, that there's definitely something happening here that's going to be very special.
Absolutely agree. I mean, I'll tell you something that resonates really well with what you just said, right? Our USDT, USDC listing, which went live a few weeks back, which now actually is doing, I want to say, more volume than the other pairs for the last few days at least. Definitely. That came completely out of feedback, right?
Yep.
We have a few guys who have a need, who have a pain point, and they come into the chat, they give us feedback, we talk to them, boom, 1 week later, you turn it on, and now it's a massive success story. It wasn't an idea that we ourselves came up with. It was a community idea. Our atomic execution feature that's about to go live, again, people gave us feedback, and people did it when things weren't so great, which means they were still around, they were still thinking about the future and all that stuff. I think you guys are definitely doing the right things in that regard. Let me ask you a couple of sort of clarifying questions for the audience, right? Let's talk about the potential audiences of GoGoPool. Let's say I'm a AVAX holder. What does my journey look like if I want to come into your platform and actually utilize the services? Like, what do I do and what does it look like? And then I'm going to ask you a couple of other iterations.
So my first question would be, how much AVAX do you have and how interested are you in directly getting involved at the technical level of subnets?
Let's say not so technically capable, because that's the piece I never did. Let's say it's my mom, going off of Breevie's example, and I have, I don't know, Breevie was amazing to me. He gave me 1,000 of Ox. I have 1,000 of Ox. What do I do?
What a guy.
Yeah, whoa. I feel like I would like uncap, like block off the rest of my day of just like getting to the bottom of like, how does your mom have 1,000 of Ox and how is she interested in going?
Breevie's a great child, man. He takes care of parents. So
what a good guy.
So I would say there are kind of like two paths forward. The first is, okay, you have 1,000 of Ox. If you can find 100 more, right? Shouldn't be that hard, but then you can buy the GGP token. And if you have some sort of technical ability and you're kind of technically minded, or you're interested in getting it on the ground floor on kind of like what validator nodes are, running a node, updating, just keeping the pulse on Avalanche and on subnets, then I would say you can start a mini pool. You can go to app.gogopool.com / create a mini pool or something like that, or / node operator. And then you basically enter in your node ID, stake the 1,000 AVAX, stake your at least 100 AVAX with the GGP tokens, click launch, and then now this mini pool, we call it, gets put into a queue where it waits for liquid staking deposits. That's kind of the first flow. And now you're going to have your own validator node. You can do whatever you want with it. You can sign up for whatever validation period you want for it. You earn
and do I run the hardware, right? Just to clarify. I run the node.
You're responsible for the hardware. Yeah. Cool. A lot of people use something like all nodes.
So yeah, there's like plenty of options.
Yeah. Lots of options. And a very friendly Discord loves helping people figure out their options, because I think everyone loves to min-max kind of like the hardware.
The only thing I'll say is, guys, do not run the nodes on Raspberry Pi 4s anymore. If there's any Raspberry Pi 4 people out there, don't do it. It doesn't work.
Have you put up a notice yet on that YouTube video, Firestorm?
I probably should. I haven't looked at my YouTube thing in so long that I probably should, yes.
Probably should just make another video, honestly, and then redirect everything from the old one.
Dude, I wish, like, if I had a little bit more, like, the focus right now is Dexalot, as you can imagine. If I had time, I would totally, like, buy an Intel NUC, like, bare bones, build it out, and identify the smallest and cheapest way to run a node at your home. But, you know, things have gotten complicated, right? Like, the platform is so successful that, you know, spikes are what kills these homemade nodes. But anyways, we diverge.
So Firestorm is clearly illustrating, like, okay, you can create the node, but you're basically buying into the idea of, okay, now I've got a real responsibility here, right? It's like, now I have a node that I have to take care of and update and maintain. I have to be at least somewhat, or at least have the help to be technically inclined. Like, that's the first path forward, right? I think that's what I would do. That's why kind of where I'm excited about GoGoPool is, like, that's my own problem to solve, right? It's like, that's what I would do. The second path is Breevie's mom could take that 1,000 AVAX and then deploy it into the liquid staking token called GG AVAX. So you swap the 1,000 AVAX for probably like 998 GG AVAX is the exchange rate right now. And then now you're able to access the staking yield that happens on the P chain, but you get to access all that yield on the C chain now, which for you, the end user, drastically simple, right? Click a button, I just get a token, which I'm already used to. This token automatically accrues in value. I can sell my position whenever I want. And it's accruing the staking rewards in real time. As we're starting to deploy, we're having a couple kind of key roadmap calls right now internally. But as we're starting to deploy and start creating out integrations, now you can use this GGAVAX token into whatever DeFi protocol you want, if that's the way you want to go. Or maybe there's some interesting subnet use cases as well. They'll be popping up. On that.
I mean, I kind of want to take a very quick sort of interjection, right? Like staked AVAX, extremely valuable, because think about just owning AVAX and locking it. You just locked it. You're validating the network, but that capital isn't available for you to use it for whatever purposes. Like staking is amazing, but it's not super composable if you do it in its raw form, right? Once you stake it through a protocol such as GoGoPool, you have a token, a depository receipt type token that corresponds to your original stake. You still earn the yield, but now you have the liquidity to do certain things with the token. You never know. Life changes. Maybe you need access to it because of an emergency. Or, as people build on top of this token, you can use it for other DeFi primitives or other services out there to do things with your money. It really, like the best description I've heard for why it's important is like it improves the velocity of capital, right? It becomes liquid and it adds value to the network as well as to the adoption of like overall liquidity, right? So in that sense, super critical. So I guess this is the end user with AVAX, who doesn't necessarily touch his or her AVAX frequently. Now, let's look at it from the other perspective. If I am a business, I have a very nice product that I want to launch. I think an application-specific chain is super good fit for me, but I don't know where to start. I don't know how to run nodes. I know how to, let's say it's a game, right? I know how to build a game, but I don't necessarily know the intricacies of a subnet. How would a business like this come and work with you guys to basically launch the subnet? That's the other user that I was thinking about.
So 2 kind of paths forward here. First, come talk to me. I've been brokering these kind of like subnet infra deals since December, right? And like at this point, probably helped set up maybe 20 subnets or so of kind of like matchmaking of here's your RPC. Do you need a wallet? Provide like a managed wallet? Do you need a Firebox integration? Like whatever, like we've been extremely active in helping subnets get launched faster and building a lot of tools for it. So 2 emergent properties out of that work. First, now there's the wonderful, wonderful GGP token. And that anybody who stakes GGP token, they're a qualified hardware operator, right? Like they're operating hardware. They're here because they want to help subnets. You can pop into the Discord and just say something, and I guarantee you'll have 10 Valor node operators be like, yeah, I'd help. Like, what can I do? Should we make a chat? Like that was the whole point here of GoGoPool, is that this is really meant to be a community endeavor to help subnets launch faster. The second path forward is, again, out of all the work that we've been doing manually for the past X months, is we're creating a ton of open source tooling. And that looks, right now, concretely, it looks in the form of Gogo Tools. This is very, very developer oriented. Gogo Tools, Gogo Template, and Gogo Pro. Gogo Pro is something, it's in open beta right now. So if anyone's interested, they can just go to pro.gogopool.com to check it out. But this lets you spin up a DevNet for your subnet in about 3 clicks. Like I select my EVM, I customize my precompiles however I want inside of a GUI, click launch. It's like, boom. Now you have a DevNet launched using a professional node operator's hardware. It doesn't use your own hardware. It sits in a decentralized cloud. You get a faucet. You have your node logs. You have an Explorer built in. And you have a bunch of like prefab, and you get an RPC URL with a bunch of prefab wallets sitting on your subnet. So that is by far the easiest and fastest way for you to just handle the subnet infra side and just abstract away everything you'll need in the infrastructure.
Amazing. And are you guys thinking about so obviously Gogo Tools is a great start. And, like I worked at very large companies in the past, and their approach is typically different. Are you guys thinking about like solution that is specifically designed to cater to institutions? I know it's very early for this stuff still, But what is your take on that? Because obviously that's a big emphasis for Avalanche as a platform.
So I've always been confused when people say like blockchain for institutions. It's like institutions is extremely broad. Like, do you mean middle class America? Do you mean coffee shops? Do you mean degrees of the world? Do you mean TSM? Do you mean escape planet?
My sort of take on this is large companies, right? $100 million plus revenue, lots of employees, and very clear and obvious processes in place. So I'm a dude in my weekend time. I'm going to pull up a bunch of hardware and I'm going to launch a subnet. These are like 50 people, technology teams that need to build something that's designed for scale, and their needs are going to be a lot more different than me. I can cut corners, they can't. Like, how would you approach those guys?
So I hate to say it, but you actually just laid it out. What actually, if you look at the growth playbooks for developer tooling space, it's like, okay, how did Docker get really big? Or I guess probably nobody knows what Docker is, but Docker is like one of the underpinnings of how just every single technology works right now in terms of like microservices and clouds. It's like I can't begin to
Dockerize is a verb. You Dockerize stuff.
Yeah, they pulled the Google. You know what I mean? It's like they're so in the nomenclature now for developers. It's like, how do they do it? And then everyone else, you basically focus on that first audience you said. It's just a dude. He probably works at a large enterprise, but he's just a dude. It's the weekend. Hey, I want to there's this new thing called Docker. Let's just spin up 1 million of them on my laptop just to see what happens. Haha, this is so funny. Take a screenshot, send it to my other dev buddies. They all do the same. And then we start thinking wait, how does this work? Right. And they start really going down the rabbit hole for it. And then they wake up on Sunday, do it again. Then they wake up on Monday, go into work, and they're like, hey, boss, you should really take a look at this. Right. And it's a super grassroots bottoms approach. And I think that's what we're pretty focused on right now, is just helping. And this plays nicely because we're also just really focused on helping people that are kind of trying to launch within 2 to 6 months, which it turns out not many institutions are ready to launch within 3 to 6 months. Right. So it'll get there. But I think there's massive institutional demand for experimenting with the technology. I mean, it's actually mind-boggling. I don't think the average crypto person really knows that crypto Twitter used to be the world, used to be kind of the front page of crypto. It's turning into I don't know, it's becoming its own thing. It's starting to turn into a subreddit, right? Instead of the entire Reddit. Just because there's so many new people who are experiencing blockchain technology, especially at these larger institutions, and all of them the same mindset. They saw the GPT-4 moment, the ChatGPT moment. They've already been thinking about blockchain technology. How can blockchain radically transform some aspect of our business to make us more competitive?
Sure.
Everyone's in this experimentation mindset, which is really awesome.
Yeah, I think we can all agree Twitter has changed a little bit in the past year or so. But with all that being said, I did hear, yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. I did hear that you guys have some pretty major alpha coming our way.
What is coming?
Yeah, you've been tweeting about this. I was saying earlier, word on the tweets is that there's some GoGoPool Alpha you guys were getting ready to drop. So what's happening?
Breevie, you better take this one. We've got so much alpha. I'm not sure what we're starting to tease right now.
Oh my god!
But I think you've got the pulse.
Well, let's give the mic over to Breevie real quick. What drop some knowledge on us, Breevie? What's up?
Oh man, we have some very, very, very big things here. I'm very, very excited to drop this alpha. This will be the first partnership that we're going to announce in this specific light, where we're going to be doing a whole campaign with them. And for everyone out there, I'm talking about a partnership we're having with Nodes, baby. And for everyone out there, who's not familiar with Nodes, they are very, very similar to all nodes, except you can actually use your cryptocurrency in order to pay for your node. So you'll be able to use USDT and USDC.
Sound effects, man. Jimmy, come on, man. You're on Let's go.
I didn't even get the crazy part. You guys ready for the crazy part?
Okay, yeah. Hey, I can make it much louder, and I have more sound effects. Please go ahead. Please continue.
Hold on. Let's get it. All right. So there's 1,257 AVAX validators out there. This affects every single one of you. I want you guys to let you guys know GoGoPool got you a 20% discount on your node between the days of July 5th and July 10th. You got to sign up your node through Unodes, July 5th through July 10th. You get a 20% discount, my friends.
Let's go. You guys
monthly, you can sign up yearly, baby. 20% off. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Listen, everybody's about yield. Think of it as 20% additional yield on whatever you're doing. Let's go.
Let's go.
The math is simple.
Amazing.
Very simple.
It's never been cheaper to launch a node. It's never been cheaper. GoGoPool cuts it in half for you. You only need to come with 1,100 AVAX, and now you get 20% off.
Let me ask a tangential question, Jimmy. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in again.
No, dude, go.
I'm a nerd. You know this, and these conversations make me excited. If the and I made this comment to Avalab's Discords 50 million times, but if the node minimum requirements were to come down, adoption on a solution like yours would increase tremendously, right? Because now you need less size on the GGAVOX liquid staking side to basically allow people to launch nodes, right?
Yeah.
So I think you guys are also in a great position to get this feedback across, especially if it works for you guys as well. I've been talking to a few other friends of mine saying, guys, like, we got to bring this conversation back right before the next big cycle, because again, people are popping up, coming into the space, thinking about subnets, talking about Avalanche, and we gotta really grab more users in the next big cycle. We're already breaking unique wallets, unique addresses, records as a platform. I think, I just wanted to mention that as well. Like, reduced minimum would tremendously increase the number of nodes, I believe.
Totally. It would make it, running a node right now is competitive up to a point with delegation, right?
Yes.
But with things like GoGoPool, it just makes it even more, like, it outcompetes delegation, in my opinion. And you definitely want as many people running nodes on a decentralized operator set as possible, versus, like, I think right now there's just a nasty amount of delegation happening.
Actually, that was the second piece of commentary from 2.5 years ago. When you have the delegation at 2% tax, I'm going to call it a tax, like, it doesn't provide enough incentive for people to push themselves out of being lazy. Increase that, reduce the minimum, get more nodes, get more decentralization. Now we have the GoGoPools of the world, which will allow you to, do that, right? So I feel like, it's something maybe we as a community need to push forward one more time. Again, I know the Avalabs team is very busy, but it's something that's valuable that they should hear.
Firestorm, I do always love when you say, Jimmy, I have to ask this question, and your defense is that you're a nerd. It's like you're talking to a guy who's in a room full of action figures, records, and comic books, saying that you're like, it's okay, man. Ask your question.
That's how I get my credit with you, man. I just tell you that I'm a nerd, then I can talk forever, hijack more airtime. So
you're good, man. We love it. We love it. Keep going. Keep going.
No, that was it. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that the GoGoPool team agrees, and it seems we're perfectly aligned. So.
I agree, man. It's really great having you guys on the show, and we got some major alpha from the GoGoPool team. Guys, if you missed it, you can watch the replay when the show is over. But before we let you guys go, I got a couple quick questions for you. First, are you coming back to the show? Because we got to have you back to the show. This was awesome. Loved having you guys on. Can you come back and talk more about what's happening with GoGoPool as things progress?
Totally. I'll turn it back to you guys. Jimmy 2x Firestorm. What do you think would be the pivotal moment for us to come back? What would just make the next show, next time we come back, just 5 times as special? Today we came in with the news of protocol launching, why we're here, etc. This discount campaign, we're a new partnership with Unodes. How can we top that?
Bring cake.
I mean,
bring cake. We can do that.
Bring cake, of course, dude. I mean, we love community projects, right? We're one of them. You're one of them. You guys are always welcome. We do this show at least once a week. Then we have other iterations, and we'd love to have you guys anytime. You
keep
tell
us posted on what's happening. If you got something big, we can check the schedule. I mean, we schedule this out pretty far in advance usually, but just get at us if you got something big coming, and we can figure something out.
Hell yeah,
let's do it.
You got some things coming, my friend.
Just let us know, man. Let us know. But my second question is, of course, we're gonna play some music at the end of the show. I got to get a song request from each of you, Steven and Breevie. I have access to the World Wide Web over here, so I can get anything you want. I myself am a former rap DJ, so that's my specialty. But I am a student of all music, so whatever you guys want to hear, I can procure that.
Breevie, do you mind if I make the suggestion for this one?
I need to get both of you guys.
I get
requests from every guest. So what do you guys got?
All right, let me find it.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot either. If you got something, you can think about it and let our producer know.
Only You by 112 and Notorious B.I.G.
Whoa. Hey, you're going to my era right now, man. That was like, I have doubles of that on the shelf. I have 2 copies of the record, so we could do tricks with it back in the day. I'm one of those guys.
What? Yeah, John told me that you wouldn't have any problem with anything I suggested.
Yeah, I'm pretty well, I'm older than I look, for one thing, and I'm old enough where all those records back there, I mean, I made a career change in 2020. DJ kind of went down the tubes, and I decided to do something else, guys. But the thing is, I'm one of those guys. I was in the DJ game for long enough where all those records behind me, I used to carry those to the club. I had jacked shoulders. My back was in really good shape. But I used to carry 4 crates of records to the club every Saturday to DJ. And then we went digital. So I'm sort of a dinosaur in that sense. But yeah, 112 featuring Biggie and Mace, dude, I got you. That's my joint. Steven, what about you? Did you think of something?
Yeah, there's no way you'll get this one, though. But this one is to a very special friend of mine out there. I'm making this shout out to him. If This Isn't Nice, I Don't Know What Is by Akira the Don.
What is it?
If This Isn't Nice, I Don't Know What Is by Akira the Don.
Akira the Don. All right. Producer John, can you get Akira the Don for Steven? And of course, I got 112 and Biggie, man. That's man. I could probably like recite that song from front to back too. So awesome request. Love both the requests, guys. We'll get those on for you. Steven Gates, founder and CEO of GoGoPool, not GoGoPool. Breevie, growth marketing specialist. Really appreciate you guys. If you missed the show, you need to watch that replay when it's done. They just dropped some major alpha. And we will see you guys soon, man. Thank you so much for being here.